Mm. Oh, oh. Hmm. Interesting. What stops working? Does value reset? Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. We're not receiving from checkpoint. Uh, because that I'm not doing it for the player. Mm. Get number of player controllers. Mm. In here, actor reference. I can do that. I'm gonna block it. Or I can close it actually. Because it's cold. Okay, so what I need is to an overlap. Okay, so if your true branch, I'm gonna make it this. So rather than do ones, I could rather have branch. And I could say that with control inside array, state tree. Okay, and I want to add this value. So that means okay, I want to run current ID, and then I want to get that current ID. If this is correct, I run this loop. I'm checking for all these controllers. If I found a controller ID which just came across, I want to promote you to detected. I want to go as detected controller ID, and I want to add you to this array. So we get all the controllers in the map, we should loop over them. Then I'm gonna add this, and then we're gonna run the lie. 2 seconds. Five seconds. No. 1 second, or actually no, I think having it like 2 seconds is fine. Just so that it doesn't spam log. And then I want to check this array and remove item. And this will be the no. I'm gonna try to clear the array. Now that still sort of bothers me, because it clears array from all values. I can clear it every 2 seconds actually, it's fine. And then I want to say get instigator controller. run if this controller array element that's gonna return me array value, and then if it is correct, I'll set checkpoint time. The problem is now I'm not running reset checkpoint anymore because I don't need to. Because the checkpoint resets by itself. I mean, I don't have any event bound on dispatch, but okay. And why you keep triggering this? It's supposed to be okay. In here, I want to see if you clear the checkpoint. It seems like you don't. There's also some checkpoint info. Yep. Oh, but that's because we don't do custom event. Something's going wrong here. Let's begin overlap. Okay, we have this. And then we are starting the player. That's fine. Right, actually, I want you to push it only if this does not exist in the array. This is actually that I want you to do the opposite. Okay, what I want you to tell me now is what are the values you're printing? Okay, why you're not printing me at all? Oh. It's false. I think it's just necessary, is it? No. Okay, looks like I am not connecting some. I'm running this loop. Yes. Is the issue that the loop is empty? Okay, array controller. Okay, no, that's fine then. But how? How are you returning the array value? Controller 0, okay. But there's supposed to be no value in there. Okay. Yeah, now you're trying to find not valid. Okay. We're looping for this through this array, and we're checking is the value in array a value in here. Yeah. Mm. It should determine no value. What I'm working on, basically, I'm trying to. Sorry, was just reading chat. Basically, I have a checkpoint system, and what I'm trying to do now is rather than having a system like checkpoint spam player all the time, I'm trying to make it so that it stores the index of players who hit that array and does not show them the checkpoint pop-up until delay clears the array. That's roughly the plan, at least. The issue I'm having is that when this array is empty, it returns 0. And the problem with it returning 0 is that it returns me a player controller value because it searches for player controller value 0. That means I should probably ignore this. Like, unless, I guess I should ignore it, unless the value index 0 exists, which it always does, because the first one that gets added. If this value index exists, do this, otherwise go straight across. This seems to work. Yep. Now let's see if you're actually clearing the index. Okay, it's not clearing index. Why? Are you running reset checkpoint? You should be. Yeah. Yeah, running reset checkpoint. Are you coming across true? No. Why? Looking for the body. What value do I have from this in here? Reset checkpoint, get number controllers. Haha, funny. Big funny. Why am I actually doing it in here? That's really the question. I'm checking if player controller is... That's a pointless check if there's one. Why am I actually doing it? Why? I'm so fucking confused. Okay, I'm getting get number of player controllers. And it runs through them. Which is pointless. That's absolutely no value. Because the only thing I really need to do in here is Oh no, I think what it was doing is that it was returning me ID. It was returning me the controller number. So I'll check if this, it will basically get me an index to return a player controller number. And if that number was correct, it would turn into controller ID. I would add that index to array. Why am I not just making array of player controllers? Like I'm just adding a lot of necessary extra steps. It never gets easier. I'm also quite new to this, but I can tell you it never gets easier. Okay, now I can just store that controller instead of storing the index and then going through index to detect it, which was unnecessary. Unnecessary at least, stupid at best. Now I want to clear this after 2 seconds. Okay. So we have controller index array. I just got controller array because it's not index anymore. We're adding unique to this, and then we're removing it after 2 seconds. That means in here, I can. Okay, I can just check. Player value is important. I have a branch in here. I can go and check this array and use loop. And I can check if this value, no, controller of this player exists in this array. I'm losing my voice. Excuse the spaghetti, by the way. We're gonna clean it up later. Okay, now I'm gonna check. Is this player controller first? Is this a character? If this character. No, I do not. Hey, how's it going? Okay, we're running this loop and we're checking if this controller exists in this array. If it exists, I don't really like exiting from false, so I'm gonna do not bool. That should mean I don't need all these functions. Man, I have full nose, my throat is dying, it's going amazing. I love summer, it's my favorite. Where's my rainy days? I want my rainy days back. Okay, and then we are sending checkpoint time and triggering reset. But I actually want to do it. Start reset before I do trigger. Snow? Mate, fucking snow in this economy. Okay, I don't have any bind events anymore because I crashed all of them. I'm just storing this actor of class. Yeah, but you have to hit the house, don't you? Okay, that's actor overlap. Let's see it now. That should work. Why am I using two branches in here? I should not be using this branch. This branch is fucking nothing. It's a remnant of the past. And this is not giving any value. You don't have to. You can if you're fancy. In my case, I have AC, but I'm just lazy. It's fucking upstairs and it's loud. Okay, this is not working. Why? What are you failing me? Okay, you're running this loop. Are you crossing through this? No. What's the problem here? You're going through the controller array. If you return... If these two values are equal, you return false. Which makes sense. What I'm working on? I'm working on universal checkpoint system that would work for single player and multiplayer games. Because like I decided that like for a game I'm making, it's like I'm doing something heavily Trackmania inspired, but like Trackmania inspired, but you move around as a character. I got movement functionality there. The actual values are not correct, and ground movement needs to be recreated. But basically, it's supposed to be like a time trial game, but of course single player because easier. But I'm also trying to make it in a correct format with what you would expect from likes of Trackmania, like I said earlier. So what I'm working on right now is I'm trying to get a checkpoint system that would scale with amount of players and not murder the server with fucking text. So what I'm trying to do, yes. So what I'm trying to do here now is basically it's supposed to add player to array, and if the player is in array, is not supposed to be triggering checkpoint until the delay ends. The issue I'm having is that I'm checking for the player in the array, and for whatever reason, string, checkpoint failed. Okay, this is not firing at all. Okay, that's interesting. I guess that's because it cannot load body, because there is no body. Yes. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 0. 1, 2, 3, 0. 1, 2, 3, 0. Okay. What's gonna happen if I change that cooldown to, let's say, 10 seconds? Okay. And this will not trigger because it's still on cooldown. Yeah. But something feels wrong about this. Let's see, I want to say print string. Checkpoint clear. Okay, all checkpoints cleared. Now that works again. Yep, perfect. 1, 2, 3, it works. So yeah, the idea is like if you have a first player, it basically collects all the players who cross the checkpoint, but it will not allow them to re-trigger checkpoint for, let's say, 3 seconds or something like that. Which will have another benefit of it would actually work as an anti-cheat, you know? Because if the checkpoint is disabled, well, no, actually it wouldn't, because it would only work on the second and or on every consecutive playthrough. But yeah, it's just that to like make it so that players cannot just sit inside and just take forever. Because that's one thing I want to avoid. Like I don't want this to happen, right? I don't want to have like, oh well, I don't have any print string. But like basically what this does now is like it ticks all the time with the entire code. And while it does have to check for overlap, so if there's overlap happens on tick. I don't want it to like send checkpoint information to game mode and player state and whatnot every single tick if it doesn't have to. It's okay if it notifies the game mode every 3 seconds or so. 3 seconds is now it's more than whenever player will be able to reach 2 checkpoints, or well that same checkpoint twice even they respawn. So that's basically the idea there. I am checking when I'm checking on collision, but collision happens on. Well, no, this is actually not even doing that. This is actually checking on begin overlap, so it actually would work. But I just don't want it to go like I don't want player to constantly be able to just trigger events by going into it. There's no point. I believe this the reason why I'm checking that is because changing that is because I forgot that I am doing begin overlap, and I had case earlier where like you would just have string pop up whenever you run into it, and it annoyed me, and I forgot that I fixed it in the other part of the game, so I'm fixing it in here as well. So you just made me feel really fucking stupid. Thank you, but now it's done anyway, so it is what it is. Okay, but that means checkpoint is functional. That can go into complete. And that should mean I should have all this information now accessible in player state. Player state, let's go. On begin play. No, I will play controller. On begin play, I want to store HUD. And we're doing SBP player HUD. I also want to get player state. Right, in here I'm binding it if the event is correct, and this is basically binding everyone's start. So this is what I want for the reset. Set start time. Okay. So now I have to player HUD. Player state. Where's my player controller? Get player state, and I want to run. Was it run time on tech? Did I study game design? Yes, it was absolutely horrible, and I would not recommend anyone studying game design. I mean, well, maybe rephrase it. My issue with game design is that a lot of these courses are not really designed in a way that leaves you employable. So the big problem, like in general, universities have a major issue, and issue of universities is that most of universities are basically for-profit organizations, which means as a university, what you want is maximize amount of students throughout the years. And as a student, what you really want from university is a best education you can get. The problem is because you have such a huge amount of students in most of the universities, not all of them, there are some really good ones, like Breda's University or Gnomon School. I'm not sure where Gnomon is. I think it's in Canada, but there is some really good unis. I think Escape Studios in London is another really good game design course. But in most of cases, what ends up happening is that you have, let's say, 30 students who only have, let's like maybe 3 hours of practice or 2 hours of practice with a lecturer per week. And that basically means you get very little one-on-one time, and one-on-one time is very important if you want to learn stuff quickly, because then you can have someone who's experienced sit with you and say, okay, this is what's wrong, this is why whatever you're doing is not working. So based on, like, for example, how expensive university is in UK, you're actually much better off going for like mentorships, one-to-ones and whatnot outside of university to learn the craft. It also very scattered, which on one side, having all these disciplines you can dip your toes in is very useful, because you can try animation, modeling, programming, and whatnot. But then that usually only leaves you with like a year to get portfolio to employable level, which is actually very little time with how crowded the classes are. And because classes are so crowded, the actual curriculum level has to also be lowered for really the most common denominator. So it's usually a lot simpler in terms of a learning material than what you expect in like year 2 or 3. So yeah, by the end of the day, just say my attitude on this is not very great. There are some really good ones, but you have to do a lot of research. And another big issue with universities is that a lot of universities have game design courses that are led by people who themselves were never working in the industry. So effectively, you have way too many students having way too little time for way too much money, being taught by people who actually don't have the expertise to teach them how to get level required to become employable in the industry. And here's the thing, I'm not actually the only one sharing this sentiment. There's quite a few people that I'm friends with who all agree on that. Um, Here's the thing about private schooling. It all depends on how you approach that. If you have a clear idea of what it is you want to get good at, I highly recommend reaching out to artists that you look up to. And if you're smart about it, you would probably pick artists who are from maybe Vietnam or Thailand, because many of those nations are English speaking. Like Indonesia is another one. They're quite well English speaking for these sort of jobs. But you would probably be able to save a decent amount of money compared to if you were to reach out to lead artists from Denmark or Netherlands. It will probably replicate in programming and other disciplines as well. Um, and mentorship is great. Mentorship is absolutely incredible at learning, but at the same time, to really make good value out of mentorship, you really want to be at very least somewhat of an intermediate level where you already understand your software, you understand the process. What you're really struggling is just pushing it, from this 80% to 100%. Hey, hello. Run start time, set start time. Do you? I mean, I don't know, maybe. I have no idea. What streams you usually on, or in what sense? I used to stream in the past a bit, so could be. Runtime on tick, let's see. Oh no, I was kicked by an OnlyFans girl from a Steam chat. Fucking spam. Um, right, what do I want to do in here? I just want to send when the run started. So I guess that should be as date time. What you have mentioned, Ludwig, it's precisely where like having someone who's experienced would help you. Like this is exactly what one-on-ones are very helpful because you literally get someone, you pay someone to spend some time, look over your project and help you. So yeah, this is really when these opportunities help a lot. No, wait, I don't want to send this. What I want to send. What do I want to send? That's the thing. Tutorials are great if you're absolutely like if you come with zero knowledge. They're really good at getting you to like this advanced intermediate level, but they don't push you over this intermediate to professional. And this is why having a professional to like paying a professional to guide you helps a lot. But it is not cheap. Arguably no, like I was quite fortunate to be able to have some freelance contract that allowed me to hire. Well, I don't really like the word hire because I think it overstated a bit what it was, but like to pay for time of a lead artist from a studios I looked up to, and yeah, just have them look at my work, give me overpaid, and in general help me a lot to learn. Right, so what I want to do here is set start time. Where's my controller? Here. Okay, in here what I want in HUD is to set start time. I want to have an event for get start time. And I want you to send me date time. And for this, we're going to not to save grace, guys, but I'm actually so smart. I'm making my own ChatGPT. Okay, let's set this as start time. And now on tick, I basically want to get the start time and subtract from it now. I want to have it now. Yeah, there we go. Now I want to subtract these two values, and that will return me that. Now I can do the calculations for HUD in here, in HUD, and it doesn't work. Okay, why you don't get this start time? Oh, user error. Is it Pepcock? Problem between keyboard and chair? Oh no, I'm not working on my own ChatGPT, man. Fuck that. There's enough hallucination machines out there already. Okay. Why? Okay, get HUD. That should allow me. Okay, I need to get. Oh no, I do have a HUD. Skill issue. Oh, it's a fucking skill issue now. Honestly, if you want to go into all, there's few interesting ways I saw people break into game audio, and one of the leading ones that I saw is that people take existing game trailers or gameplays and they create their own audio path on top of the video. Extremely high competition. A lot of people like doing audio. It's like character art. Oh my god, character art is probably one of the most character art, weapon, like weapon modeling, character art, and audio are like the three most difficult disciplines to get into. Period. Okay, now why it don't fucking work? You can't. Okay, because you don't do this. Begin play. Event tick. Time on tick. Run time on tick. That's the thing. Don't do that. Don't try to make entire game if you want to make audio. I mean, you don't have to. The point really is that you don't have to because that requires you to make all the mechanics for running and whatnot. It's really not worth it. Because implementation, like, thing is, the moment you start working in games, what you soon realize is that as individual person, you're going to interact with only a small fraction of the engine. And most of the people who are interviewing you, like art directors, well, not all of them because ours incompetent prick, but most of the art directors will allow you to, will have enough an expertise to know what degree of work kind of will require you because when you interview people you actually speak with other people from that discipline, so you actually get knowledge on that. But having a portfolio in any sort of like art craft job, having a portfolio is the most important part. Like literally having a portfolio, a video of your audio work on top of a gameplay, this is what's really going to get you interview. And then you may get arted, but I have no idea how it works in the audio business. Okay. This works. Now what I need is why are you returning me this time? Why is this time ticking in the background? 14, 37, 17, let's say 20. Okay, I'm pausing it now. That's fascinating. It should not do that. 25, 26. What is happening? I could see that happen if you're not getting a start time. Let's see. Yeah, what would happen if I did this? Let's say I subtracted from 0. You return me this time. Okay. That means for some reason you are not receiving time from controller. But you do. Do you? No. Am I calling wrong class? Hello, Great Fox. The one. Yeah, okay. Nice. You see, that's why I have VPN set to Albania. No ads. Yeah, that's why you should have VPN set to Albania. They don't have ads. Okay, so are we sending this current time? No, this is the wrong one. Are we sending start time? Set start time. No, don't give me this. I don't want to debug on this. Okay, we're not. Why am I... What's that? Well, this definitely works. This triggers. Yep, this triggers. Do you bind this event on start? Yes. Okay, so it seems like the problem is that I'm not calling run start in here. Can I find references? Call run start. Set player start. I'm definitely running this, so yes, run start is being called. Unless the issue is that it's calling on... Do I have any delays? Like next tick delays? How it's coming along? It's slowly going. I'm trying to understand why. So, but you don't listen to this. So you are binding this event on run start. Maybe that's because this run start needs to wait until next tick, because it's possible that it's called in this tick before player. Well, no, maybe. Maybe they run in parallel or something, which doesn't really make sense, but I can delay until next tick that initial start frame. And now you get this value. Yeah. Okay. Now we're starting with 0, 0, 0. It's fine. Basically, I've been refactoring code into a correct structure for Unreal since yesterday. So I've been moving, shifting data between game state and player state. So game mode is only responsible for processing all the logic. And it proved a bit challenging. Definitely, it's a bit of a challenge, but It works now, which is good. So what I'm working on now is getting HUD to work. So I have a time working again, but now it's no longer processed in the wrong spot. It's actually processed specifically in HUD based on the value it receives. So everything now basically works with player controller being bridge for everything. I'll be right back. Okay, back. Cool. So what was I going to do next? I believe it was head checkpoints HUD. So what I need to do on checkpoint reached, right, I want to contact player controller. On checkpoint reached by this controller. I want to open BPI HUD and I want to say checkpoint reached. And we're gonna deploy it in here. What do I need on checkpoint reached? I already have. Yeah. Okay, so in here what I want is on checkpoint. No, what would be a good way to call this event? I can't think of anything smaller. Okay, so I want to call on a wrong checkpoint. I want to take the player controller that I'm starting. Actually, you know what? Maybe I could get player state and get controller from that. Yeah. In that case, I could call player controller wrong checkpoint. I want to create a let's see, can I do that? Will this allow me to do it? It will let me do it from message, which is not so bad, but it's fine. I can do it that way. That's why I use these dispatchers anyway. Event checkpoint reached. Where is this? I want to checkpoint reached and the same target. Player controller. It's kind of it's quite hard to understand. Basically, the way it works is player state is basically a data storage for between game mode and player controller. So what that generally we want to speak is like game mode is on top. Game mode is it's a rule book. And then it kind of trickles into player state and player controller. Sorry, game state and player state. And this is what you use for storing data. But then data itself, you want to pull in player state and pull from player state inside of player controller. If that makes any sense. Like you don't really want game mode to store data, and you don't really want player controller to store data if possible. You want player state to store player information like the checkpoint and so on. So something like ammo count, you would store that probably either in weapon itself or in player state, not really in player character or not really in character or controller. And controller is also basically a bridge between state and HUD. So you go from you pull from player state and send that data through controller to HUD class. What do you mean? How in an actor? When you're in controller, at any point you can just get player state. If you're in the controller, you can just access player state. Where's this? Context sensitive. No, player state is not an actor. I mean, well, no, actually, it is an actor, but it's not an actor with scene. It's not an actor that exists in a game world. But basically, it thing about player state is that player state is replicated across all players. So like you can have like different player states, and each one stores data for the controller. Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, man. It's yeah, it's confusing me as well. I'm still trying to like understand it myself, so it's not easy. But yeah, I find it very confusing still. Like genuinely, it's a lot to take in. And I want to reach. I want to send you record the checkpoint ID. Uh, best way to think about interfaces is that interface is great if you have many classes, but you want to call specific one without casting to it. So without storing its information. So let's say you have a door, window, and player. When you have a gun and you shoot, you can no, doesn't matter what you shoot for. As long as it implements interface, you can say you have been shot for this many damage, and window will crack, door will open, and player will die because only information you're sending that means like, hey, you've been shot for this many damage. Meanwhile, even dispatcher is in the other way. Even dispatcher is like nuclear bomb went off. Nothing needs to know. What like. And it's like a global event that's binary. Then you can basically have all objects react to that. So in case, let's say Call of Duty would be a good example. If you have a gun and that gun shoots you, the gun basically would on hit bullet would tell player through message like, hey, you have been shot for this many damage. Like this actor was like contact this actor, you've been shot for this many damage. And then actor would say, oh well, I would shot in the head, so that damage multiplied by 100, I'm dead. But if you were to call a nuke, since it's basically a game end system, only thing classes need to know, oh, nuke was called. So game system would say, oh, the nuke was called, okay, then that team wins. And the other system would say, the other cards would be like, oh, I guess we're all dead. And building would say, well, I guess we collapse. And so on. Like they don't need to know specifics. So the best way to think about this really is like it's one to many or many to one. I actually don't like these patches because you have to bind it. So you have to. So in a sense, you have to be a bit more deliberate. Checkpoints. I want to final checkpoints, total checkpoints. Oh, okay. I don't need that. There's also a lot of bad information on YouTube, to be honest. Like now that I'm starting to understand things a bit more, a lot of these tutorials don't really teach you the right way to do it, which is really frustrating. Okay, set start time. I also want to get total checkpoints. And in here, we're gonna get player state. Okay, then I guess he's alright, yeah. Okay, we get player state. Why do I feel like I'm missing something? Where's my player state? I'm not sure what the two little balls mean on this on the edge of this. Mannequins, gameplay component, environment, player state. Quadrant start. Okay, and I also want to get... No, total checkpoint is... Oh, this is set to now. This makes sense. That's player state. Do I not have a player state stored in here? That's odd. I guess I should store my player state. The issue in here I have is that it doesn't reference correct player state by default. Class defaults player state, maybe? No. Yep, have a good one. Okay. Player HUD. Okay, I want to get total checkpoints and okay, this is because it's testing. Get total checkpoints? No. Out of a widget now. Widget system preview now. The timer text too? No. Get token checkpoints. Checkpoint number has no argument and will take no parameters. Oh, it can take no parameters, right? Oh, there's an event graph here, right? Okay. Current checkpoint. Get total checkpoints. And I want to get total checkpoints from game state actually. Get start time. Where do you get start time? You get sent. Yes, you get sent. Okay. So I guess in here you also just want to do logic. Total checkpoints. Now we're gonna get Okay, so in here we're gonna go. What? Cannot block this as a put value? Interesting. Ah, okay. I could just do that. So you set this value. Okay. But so basically on reset checkpoint this, otherwise you send this value and you just pull it. Okay. 0 out of 3. Let's go. Okay, why you don't update checkpoints? Okay, why are you not firing this? Hmm. Why don't get value sent with you? It will be last checkpoint ID. Okay, because you're not pulling it from player state in here. Okay. Okay, that works. Because if I was to now say delay, works. Cool. That means the system for checkpoints works. Functionality is there. Checkpoint counter. Not done yet. It's 3 out of 6. Game state reset. Reset game start to start. Yes. Forgot to be so sorry. But I think I had to take a break because honestly I'm just melting in here. It's killing me. But fine. So that means we got checkpoint system working. UI HUD partially working. I think it doesn't display the time, the most recent time. Yeah. So that needs to be updated. Like it doesn't display the most recent. Oh, it also doesn't reset the time. Interesting. Time doesn't reset. Time for player doesn't reset on reset. Well, it just doesn't reset. And another issue is checkpoint time doesn't display. I would like to have a delta. Checkpoint delta. Because all these things are like gameplay mechanics I want to have, and you know, it's small thing, but they make the game feel so much better. But they don't also take a lot of time, so like that hot stuff, I really want to make sure it's done. Right. I'm gonna call it and have to get some work done around the house. It's 12:30. Got to do painting and sanding and stuff. I'll be around later. I have to get working. Well, it's not super hot and still bright. Catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. And thanks for subs. Not subs, follows. I mean, yeah, subs will be great. Anyway, take care.